A very good morning to you, Leah. And you've said it right. I'm here at the Parliament buildings. Of course, we expect President William Ruto to make his third State of the Nation address since he took over power. Of course, the State of the Nation address is set to happen at around 3 p.m. Of course, the House, the Joint House will be sitting at... first, what will be happening is that at 2:30, the two houses will first sit separately, as in the National Assembly on its own and then the Senate on its own. But at exactly 3 p.m, when President William Ruto is set to make that address, they are going to be having that joint sitting that is going to be presided over by the two speakers of the House. We are talking about the Speaker for the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, who has actually arrived some few minutes ago, and also the Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi. And they are going to, of course, most of the time going by what has been happening, they first have to read the standing orders and as well as the Constitution on that clause that gives the President the mandate to come and have a State of the Nation address addressing the Joint House. And this being the third one, it is the 13th one since the new Constitution was promulgated and since we had the new bicameral Parliament. And the first address that President William Ruto made was in 2022. Well, he was officially opening the House. His speech that day was very short, approximately about 9 minutes or so, and that was just a joint sitting, but the official opening of the 13th Parliament. And then the first one, 2022, after 1 year in office, and gave just the progress of what he had managed to achieve from 2022 September. Well, he was inaugurated, or rather when he was sworn in as the president, and also in 2022 and 2023. So, and all the State of the Nation address have been happening in November. So today, again, we are going to be looking.
Thank you so much, Daniel Kariuki, there at the Parliament buildings, just giving us updates on what is happening, as we expect that the President will be arriving at the Parliament to give his State of the Nation address, of course, key pertinent issues. And I'm told that we'll just go back to Daniel Kariuki.
President has been having, Kirui has been looking into his administration and what he has managed to achieve. Today, there is a lot that he's going to be talking about, I believe.
And of course, remember, the State of the Nation address is basically to give a scorecard on what the government has achieved based on what Article 132 says, that the President should address the nation on matters to do with Article 10. Article 10 of the Constitution actually talks about several issues. And if I can take you through what that article means, it will actually form the basis of what the President is going to address today. And Article 10 of the Constitution, sub-Article 2, says the national values and principles of governance, which include patriotism. The President is actually going to deal with issues to patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power. He is actually going to talk about the county governments, the 47 county governments, the money that is actually allocated to the 47 county governments, and the progress that the country is making in actualizing devolution and enhancing devolution in the country. There are issues to deal with the participation of people. Remember, there is the aspect about public participation, and so many people have argued that public participation in Kenya is actually rubber stamping issues when it comes to legislation,
bills that have been brought forward
to Parliament. And there is also a bill in Parliament right now to really entrench public participation in the Constitution in terms of the threshold of what is considered as public participation. In the past, we've seen people arguing that they've not been given an opportunity to really raise issues when it comes to matters of public participation, talk about the budget-making process. And people are normally given an opportunity to talk about the budget policy statement. But they say that public participation has not really been to what was anticipated in the Constitution.
It was actually raised by the Catholic Bishop, the KCCB, raised that issue recently, I think last week, if I'm not wrong, that there are some issues that the Kenyans have been raising on some of the bills that have been passed in Parliament and sent into law by the President, and specifically using the cyber crime bill that went through and was signed now is an act of Parliament but of course it is in the courts. Some Kenyans have raised a petition on the same, and I think that is one of the things that most of the Kenyans have been asking about. When did this public participation happen about some of the bills that have been passed? And some quarters say that this is trying to maybe gag Kenyans from expressing themselves.
They're saying, actually, the argument is that since President William Ruto came into power in September 2022, the space of democracy and freedom to express yourself is actually diminishing. That is what civil rights group actually is more concerned about in this Kenya Kwanza regime. And then, of course, there is the issue about human dignity.
Human dignity.
Yes, that is also something that the president will be expected to address. And human dignity has so many perspectives. Access to clean water, access to houses. And you know, there is the issue about affordable housing. And the president has really been pushing for affordable housing to cut across all the counties, 47 counties in Kenya. And there has also been a concern about the decision by the government to actually deduct money from salaried Kenyans. 1.5 million from you as an employee and 1.5, an equal amount from your employer. And that has actually been the basis of what the opposition has been driving against the government.
They have actually called for a press conference. I
Yes,
think they're also
on the
going to
same.
be issuing their State of the Nation.
Yes. And actually they've been saying that the current government is actually raiding Kenya's payslip, the salaried Kenyans. They're raiding the payslip.
Yes.
So those are some of the concerns that the president actually is supposed to address during this State of the Nation address.
Before we hand it back to Leah in studio, the issue about corruption. I had Leah in the panel discuss about corruption, and this is something that the president has raised in matters to do with corruption in parliament. They're talking about members of parliament who have been corrupt and have been bribed some instances. Something that he raised also during the devolution conference and also during a parliamentary meeting with the members of parliament. Do you think today he's going to address that also in the House?
Well,
bearing in mind that he will be facing the members of parliament directly.
Well, constitutionally is expected to deal with matters about corruption, but again, it begs the question. When the president says he's privy to raw intelligence about who is involved in this corruption racket in parliament, why hasn't he taken any action against any member of parliament? We've not heard the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission calling for any member of parliament to record statement. Yet the president says that he has raw intelligence that some members are engaging in corruption. He was even quoting a case in Senate where a governor was brought in for grilling, impeachment, and he's saying that some senators pocketed money.
Yes.
So why hasn't anyone actually had an opportunity or rather been summoned to record statements? So those are the questions that Kenyans are raising and institutions are raising actually, that the president might be playing to the gallery.
Right.
And of course throwing the bicameral parliament under the bus.
Under the bus. We are going to be following keenly to see exactly what happens, and we are going to be here. Just a brief of what we are expecting. Exactly at around 2:20 is when the president is going to be arriving and will be welcomed by the deputy president, then later on by the two speakers of the houses, after he has had the guard of honor here at the parliament buildings. Of course, we'll be here to keep you updated with Jeff Kirui as well as my colleague Ali Manzu and all the crew here at the parliament buildings. But for now, let me hand it back to you in studio, Leah.
Thank you so much, Daniel Kariuki.